welcome back to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are and however you're tuning in to us today. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. We appreciate you. My name is Caleb Talley. I am a Startup Junkie, and I'm joined by my fellow Startup Junkie co-hosts, Jeff Ameriine and Grace Gill. How are y'all?
Doing well.
It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's Bourbon Friday.
Bourbon Friday. It's best time of the week, as opposed to Bourbon Thursday and Wednesday and Bourbon Tuesday.
Bourbon Friday is good. It always feels like Bourbon Friday, right?
But we are excited to have with us a guest and friend, Mariano Quinones of Hunger in Action.
Sir, hi, everybody. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Triano.
We're really glad to have you.
Thank you.
And you were just telling us that you are a podcast veteran now.
Hey, I wouldn't say all that yet, but I'm getting there. I've done a couple.
All right. Well, happy to help you get some more experience in front of the mic. So give us the origin story. You're a young man already. To begin with, but go back, wind the clock back, share your origin story.
The origin of Hunger in Action, or
you tell your story.
Too. Yeah.
That's a long one.
But, you don't have to go to Genesis, right? We don't have to start at the moment of conception, but whatever you want to share, it's good.
No, well, I grew up in Springdale, moved to Arkansas, Springdale, when I was maybe about 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could say I pretty much was raised here, everything, and everything a young man experience here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud of that. And I went to Springdale High School, like most other, teens, got in a little bit of trouble here, a little trouble there. And I never saw college in my future. But as soon as I graduated, I found out I was gonna be a dad. So yeah, I had to make that a little mind shift there. And so I started going to college as soon as I got out of high school. I was 18 years old, and 10 years later, I'm still trying to accomplish that. And this is my last semester, so hopefully, God willing, that happens. But then moving forward, I worked full time as well for about 8 years, and just out in the field. And my last well, no, not my last job, but the job I held the longest, I kind of parted ways there, and that was in 2016. That's when I started coming up with Hunger in Action, which is Hunger in Action started as a clothing brand. It was just a clothing. It's just to try to put a positive message out there, and with something I like, and it's just fashion and clothing, things like that. So started as a clothing brand, and about 2 years later after that, I was always been into just fitness and boxing, mostly, but all kinds of fitness, just CrossFit, weightlifting and all that stuff. So I thought Hunger in Action would be a perfect platform and for a gym, and a name for a gym. So just the meaning behind it, which I guess just to just kind of give a little background on Hunger in Action hunger was just the desire of something, just wanting something bad enough, and then action is just the that term, the necessary steps to achieve a goal or aim. So that's just put those two things together, and I was like, man, that's perfect name for a gym, and a good platform to help the community out, as well as myself and people around me. And but yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, some.
Were you a boxer in high school?
I wouldn't say a boxer. I think a boxer is a little more disciplined.
Right.
You're a fighter.
more. But,
you had some skills.
But we trained. Never did compete. We just went down the wrong path, and never did compete. But did train and was around it.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Mm-hmm.
A couple buddies of mine did compete, and the coach that kind of started us off, he had a small gym in Elkins, and he's still with us. He's still with us now, and helping us out now in Springdale, which he comes all the way down from Elkins, couple actually more than a couple times a week, he helps us out. Has over 45 years of experience.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a true asset there and blessing just in our lives. But shout out to him, Robert Lorrimore.
That's great.
Yeah,
well, so you got the clothing brand and you decide this is a great name for a gym. Talk about what that was like, getting that started and how that went and kind of where you are today.
So to getting that started, it was just just learning as we go, just hit the ground running, really just kind of try to I was going to school, but I was I hadn't hit those classes yet where you start learning a little bit more in depth about business, but so I learned a lot as just wanting it, just really being hungry, wanting it bad enough that I did my due diligence and research, and so it was exhausting at times, but also I read this quote somewhere, and I think it's probably a book, but it said start where you're at now, and better tools will come along the way. And that was like, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to start. I'll start somewhere, and I'll figure, I guess better tools will come along the way, and they did. I just started, just figuring out how resourceful, I really could be, and the people around me, how they were just willing to help, just seeing me try and look for ways, and it just kept going on like that. Just like I'm a big believer, and I credit it all to that, my faith, and I think it just kept going on. It kept going as I kept like really trying and working for it, taking action.
Yeah, living the tagline, right?
Living the model, living the tagline.
Brand. That's great.
Yes, sir.
And you talked a little bit about kind of going down the wrong path and all that. And how are you leveraging the gym and that opportunity for the next generation and kind of getting out in front of those young guys?
Young guys. Yeah. Well, that's one of for this. That's one of I think my biggest. I don't know. I want to say just passion, purpose. As just help out the next generation. The youth is the future, and I mean all of us. But I do try to focus on the youth because I feel like that's where you need the most guidance. So and I could attest to that. So with the gym, it's just we have a few programs for the troubled youth specifically, and it's just a lot of youth just gravitate towards the sport, and then it's something that's new around here. So it just happened really fast, but just pretty much being a living example, really, trying to be an example for them, and while they're at the gym, and just let them know that that we can overcome anything as long as we set our minds to it. But and that's in anything, in any sport, and in life, and anything else. So but I do think being physically active and being at the gym, it helps out a lot in that sense.
Definitely, sure. I can see where just having someone to talk to,
right,
someone to engage with,
right,
someone that's like outside of their other circles. That's
right,
that's also a path. You if you see it, you can be it type of
right,
approach. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, especially I feel like in a sport, a lot of that discipline kind of carries over to your entrepreneurship journty and everything. Yes. And those skills that you learn in the gym are really applicable to that hustle of building a business. But what's the hardest part of, deciding to take that risk of starting a business, and what was it for you that made you take that risk anyway?
I think the hardest part it's just looking into it. I would think maybe just a little bit of fear of a failure, of course. I think it's always the biggest kind of, I guess, obstacle, really. But once but I think it's just getting over the fear, and then and just knowing that for me, for example, it's just knowing that I'd rather try than regret. At one point, I think that was the biggest thing to me, just not living with or in the future living with that regret. So I think that was the biggest obstacle just personally. But which there's a lot of other things, of course, but but I think in the grand scheme of things, it was that for sure. Just not living with regret.
You know, there's lots of competition within the fitness space. There's lots of gym alternatives that are out there. As you think about why your members come to your place, what's the main draw? Why do they come to you versus Planet Fitness versus Fitness One versus Crunch versus all the other stuff that's out there?
Well, I think our specialty right now is just boxing. We're in the competition space as well. We have amateur boxing and professional boxing. I think that's one big thing. But I think also it's just I would think we were just received really, really well by the community, you know, and it just authentic, you know, genuineness. I think people gravitate towards that as well. So I think that's one of the big reasons, because we don't have all the bells and whistles. We don't have all the, you know, the equipment that we really want, but we were voted best gym of NWA like 3 years in a row. So to compete with them on that level, and I really think it's just being ourselves, being authentic, and people knowing our story, at least in Springdale. You know?
And so young kids can learn the basics of boxing. They can compete, but you also have some people that are maybe trying to build solid amateur and professional careers too, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's an all around gym. You know, beginners, just people who just want to work out and learn a little bit about the fundamentals and basics, and all the way up to competition level, amateurs and pros. At the moment, I think we have 15 registered amateur boxers and about 3 professional boxers that compete out of our gym. 3 which are young kids that are going to a national tournament here next month.
That's exciting.
That's a national. So they won the state tournament, which is state silver gloves. They won regional silver gloves, and now they're headed to nationals, which is something. Arkansas is not a big boxing state,
right?
But it's growing, and it's also really neat to see that, you know, us kind of giving that platform to where there is a lot of talent who, you know, they like that, they like the sport, and they're doing something with it. So.
Yeah, that's great. So this is an off the wall question for you. For somebody that hasn't done it before, how long does it take the typical new member to learn how to use the speed bag well?
That's a good question.
Which is one of my favorite things to do.
I think it just varies, you know. I think if you're wanting it like that, I think with everything else, if you really want to learn and you're trying and you're putting, you know, consistent, you know, effort and hours into it, it just depends. You know, some kids get it right away because they're just at it every single day. Some kids are, you know, just on and off, or you know, people just on and off, and they don't get it as fast. You know, but it just depends how much time and effort you put in it. I don't know about an exact amount of time.
It'd take me 3 years probably.
You know, jumping rope well, speed bag, and there's a 2-ended bag as well, which is another trick. If you can figure that out.
Those are good skills. So jump roping though, that's a really good
oh my god,
really good cardio and really good, you know, exercise. But the other ones are a little tricky.
Those are the ones that require coordination. A lot of the rest of stuff, heavy bag, you can figure that out in sparring, but man, the speed bag is it's like playing the drum. Once you figure that out, it's a lot of fun.
That makes sense.
So what I guess what percentage, what part of your role and your work there is you know, outreach and kind to, you know, marketing the gym and kind of marketing the virtues of boxing as exercise to potential new, you know, members versus, you know, or do you just have your regulars and you're content with that? What's that kind of ratio of outreach?
So far everything's been pretty organically, you know, just word of mouth stuff. But yeah, me, like I try to focus on the marketing, on the branding, and so I'm like heavily, or, you know, probably most involved in trying to just trying to keep it growing, you know, grow as much as we possibly can. Really, we're right now we're in the middle of trying to expand another 2,000 square feet, so my biggest thing is just as I'm learning is just doing like knowing what to do and when to market, and if we're at the end, we're at the right the right stage so that we can do that, which I know it's kind of like there's a lot of things where I'm like man, we need to be marketing already, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't know if we're ready for that, and to just where I wanted to be as far as as the gym, as an equipment and all that stuff. So it's just, but yeah, I'm pretty involved in all that.
Kind of spread the message
Trying to
of
spread
boxing.
trying to spread the message and everything. For sure.
Are you waking up with it in the morning and going to sleep with it at night? I mean, is it like a 24/7?
It's a 24/7 thing for sure. 24/7.
That's true for business.
25/8. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, that is.
You dreaming about it at night too when you sleep?
Sometimes if I sleep, but sometimes no. Actually, I've been trying to I sleep all right. I try to balance everything.
Sure.
And I'm learning to do that. So, but definitely, I've dreamed about it. More than a few times.
Yeah.
On the marketing side, you're talking about how you have these different levels of competitors. In boxing, is that something like competitors kind of have like a home gym where they, like they kind of affiliate with what you're doing, even though it's an individual sport?
Right.
Does that kind of bring in business? Like, do you feel like you get traction and actually in the competition space where people are like, this is a legit gym?
Yeah, actually, yes. There's maybe one other gym and boxing gym in Springdale, and there's a few down, a lot more down like in Little Rock and Pine Bluff and all those areas. But I guess for here, yes, I think people who really want to compete and want to learn, and I think we're like that, that gym for people who want to take it more serious, and which is also, I don't know, it's also and I've seen it kind of be a good thing and a bad thing, because I feel like a lot of people have a misconception of a boxing gym. They think that it's just you're gonna go in there and just fight somebody or box, or you're gonna get thrown in there, and that's not, that's definitely not what we're trying to do, but I understand how it could be viewed as that, and maybe that's another big thing on marketing, where which I've been trying to like not make it or kind of, I guess, put away that perception and kind of give a different outlook at
so they're not like apprehensive to come.
Yeah, because people just think, and I feel like that keeps a lot of people away as well. So instead, we have a lot of free weights where people could just come and use equipment. We have squat racks, just benches, and all types of things. But I think a lot of people, they're kind of like stay away just because of it's a boxing gym.
Yeah, and even if you never compete, boxing workout, the multitude of things you do in boxing will get you in the best shape of your life.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are realize that, but I think there's a lot more who just I think it's just getting out of your comfort zone and going into a boxing gym, because once we get somebody in there, the majority of times they stay, they love it, they stay there. So it's just about getting out there.
Yeah. So on that, what does your gym like offer like for new people? Do you have like group classes, or is it just kind of free for all? You come in and like learn from the people who are in there?
We have both really. We have just open gym memberships where you could just come and use equipment, work out. We're key fob access, so from 5 a.m. to midnight, Monday to Saturdays. You come in 6 to 6 on Sundays. You can just come in and work out. We do have group classes, and that's kind of like our biggest thing. We have group classes all throughout the day, specific hours, but all throughout the day. And then but you do come, and a lot of people do come and learn from people who are around there. Just like a small community, vibe gym. So these people are always willing to help, and that's another really nice thing about it. Everybody just starts to know everybody by name, and it just kind of like. It's really cool to see that, but the biggest things that we offer is the open gym membership, the group classes, some personal trainings and personal classes, things like that.
What would you recommend for somebody like me who's out of shape, interested? And so I was thinking to your point about people coming to a boxing gym and thinking they're getting thrown into the ring when they come in. Brazilian jiu-jitsu crossed my mind for like 1 second, and then I realized I'm gonna actually have to get out and grapple with some sweaty dude. I was like, it's a boxing gym.
If you're doing boxing right, you don't have to touch anybody.
Exactly. Right? I'm not trying to
and they don't have to touch you if you're good.
I'm trying to roll around on a mat with anybody. But for somebody like me that's coming in, just completely starting at zero, what would you recommend for somebody to like really kind of get acclimated, like day one, week one? What's that process look like?
It's Caleb's been asking me this forever. And
I know. I'm gonna join.
And he never comes by.
Hey, look,
but so this is what he's trying to get to. He's trying to get
I'm trying to get the advice so I can get the get my comfort level.
Man, we have classes where you don't even get in there and do no physical, no physical combat. It's just you work out, you learn, and it's as you feel like. Well, there's a couple where and your coach or something or somebody would tell you, I think it'd be good for you to kind of get that experience, because it's a good experience at the end of the day, and it's a workout, and it's just it keeps you on your toes, and but there's not a have to. You don't it's not like, oh, you're gonna, this is what you're doing today, and that's sparring or fighting. We have classes where just like hit boxing workouts where you learn the fundamentals and
that's
start
probably
training,
where I need to start. Yeah.
And that's and that's what I always recommend. For people to start there and work out and get in, just stay active and get in physical shape that you want to get into. But there's the majority of our classes are that. So then the other ones are like more competitive classes. We go by levels. So.
As opposed to just having a few drinks at Maxine's and practicing in the parking lot.
That's not ideal, right? That's not ideal. But, on another kind of related question, do you think there's a market for an over 60 fight club?
I'd pay to go watch.
Wouldn't it be something, right?
Do I have that as an undercard for the next
one?
But
there is such thing.
Is there really?
Yeah, there is such thing.
There's like senior citizen boxing.
There is such thing. There is.
Oh man, I could be a world champion.
I forget what
I have to get in there and beat someone's ass.
I forget what they call it.
I can finally be a champion in something.
I forget what they call it, but I think there is though. And it's like,
the gray gloves.
No.
Gray gloves. That's a good one, though. It's truly a fight to the death. You better have the paddles close to the end.
But there is such thing, and you register like every other amateur boxer, and
yeah, they really do have senior citizen boxing.
Yes,
the problem is I'd be in a weight class where it'd be my luck that Mike Tyson, who's a similar age, George Foreman would show up and be like, all right, wait a minute, this is not right.
Those guys are built a little bit.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Mike's built,
and they can both still fight.
Yeah,
I guarantee.
Mike fought not too long ago
on an airplane, right?
Yeah,
beat the hell out of him.
But an actual fight.
I think
they got in shape and did like a little exhibition fight.
What was it?
It was Roy Jones Jr.
I think it was Roy.
Yeah.
You never really lose it completely. And some of these guys are just.
Well, all he had to do was stop smoking weed, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm in shape again." They could fight.
Yeah, he got in really good shape.
Yeah,
and
that's something. If there ever is a competitive over 60 crowd at your place, let me know.
I can't help but picture that. Was that Will Ferrell movie Old School when they're like fighting in the basement? Old blue squares up.
That's funny.
That would happen. That's a funny movie.
So tell us a little bit about the fights, the actual. I mean, you've gotten and dabbled into the event, and so I'm curious to know, as you got into that, was that just to promote the gym itself, or just out of personal interest, or what? Or how'd that come to be?
So that was we did dabble into the promotional boxing business. That was just like me trying to see, just growth and all around that business, and all venues of it, and everything around that, any type of other stream that we can kind of bring into that could help the cause and business, but and as well as to really like the same thing is give a platform to amateur boxers. We always have to travel. Like the closest place is probably Little Rock, we got to go to Pine Bluff, Mena, Arkansas.
Sure.
Just really far, 6-7 hours away, staying in Pine Bluff, just different places. So
you don't want to go to Pine Bluff.
Yeah, so we're out there, most of the times we have to travel out there, and the kids have to travel out there, and it gets kind of complicated. The families can't come and watch them. It was just a whole mix of things that just made sense to do something like that, and we got a huge help, with the venue and stuff like that, because the venue that we host them at, could sit probably close to 3,000 people.
Wow.
And
which venue do you?
the Springdale Civic Center.
Which is awesome. Yeah,
It's a pretty nice venue, and you know they helped us out, give us give us just kind of the green light on trying this new thing, and it just worked out. It was a hit. We've done 4 shows now.
Do you get a bunch of people out for it? What's the typical attendance?
The typical attendance, I'll say, it's averaging like around 900 and 1,100.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's
great.
It is awesome. I still, it's surreal, really, just thinking about it. But this last year we did one, the last one in December, and that average, I think that was about around 900 something people.
Wow.
Now I've been out of town every time you've had one of those.
Yeah, they usually. I need to start.
You should consult with me first.
Yeah, I need to consult with you.
You're gonna be in town because I've been wanting to go to one for like 2 years.
We're
now.
hoping that I'm hoping after I'm done with school, I'm not doing no more while I'm in school. That was pretty hardcore, but hopefully after graduate out, we're gonna have them more consistently, at least 5 years.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah, see a Startup Junkie sponsored.
Right.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be hard to get excited about. I love that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So what comes next? As you think about where you want to go with what you have and the brand, what's the next 3-4 years going to look like?
I think it's just building the brand. Just continue to try to just. I'm still very very early. I feel like in our just growing stages.
Stay focused on that one location.
So I want to stay for now. Yes. For now, just build that as much as we possibly can. Like I said, we're trying to expand a little bit, and in the next 4 or 5 years, I really want to. I mean, I do want to have our own building and kind of like just plan it out like every just like I said, there's just I don't know, just really get the layout right, how we want to do it. But so that would be my biggest thing. But just keep growing the brand and keep growing that, just the space around it for sure.
And then the brand itself, notice the Lion Cub is feature of the brand. What's the kind of meaning behind the Lion Cub in Hunger in Action?
So the lion at first was the lion, just just what a lion represents, just everything around that. But I did the cub more like because of the youth, It was just a young cub. Just even like I said, I feel like that's where we're really a lot of growth can happen, and I would say positive and both negative. I feel like it's always it's never too late, but I think I really want to focus on giving that message out to the youth. So that's why the cub was more like I went through a lot of things that I wish I could have done differently. But I mean, it makes it. I'm not like saying like I regret anything, but it's just more like I wish I had a different, just a different view or different, mindset at that time. So I kind of want to, give that back or just kind of emphasize that. Yeah.
One of the ways that we like to kind of land the plane on these conversations, and I think you've been at this for a while and had a kind of interesting and tumultuous journey in your own words. But if you could take all that accumulated knowledge and wisdom you have now that you've been operating the business for a while and go back to your younger self, maybe when you were at that Lion Cub stage, what would you tell your younger self if you could give some advice?
I would tell myself, just be disciplined, just be more disciplined on things that, and learning would be one of my biggest things. Just be more disciplined and working and learning, through the things. I felt like there was a lot of times where, it just kind of was careless, a lot. I'd like to be more thorough. So I think that's really that would be the biggest thing, really. And in that aspect of just business, in a business sense, I would want to just kind of pay more attention to things and just learn as much as I can. Being that young.
Well, and for our listeners that are interested in learning more about you, maybe connecting with you, or maybe learning more about the gym, maybe they want to join, or just want to see when the next fight is, what's the best way to connect with you in the gym?
The best way would be through social media, at Hunger in Action Gym. That's our main page. We have the clothing brand page as well, which is Hunger in Action. We're still working on the website. She isn't a big thing, but working on the website. But it'd probably be under the domain of hungerinaction.com. So, and it's coming really soon. But yeah, that'd be the best way.
Thanks for coming on.
No,
Best
thank you
of
guys.
luck in the
Thank
future.
you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. Ecosystem builders, entrepreneurs, chambers of commerce, mayors. If you're interested in taking your economic future into your own hands, we've got a book that can help you. Creating Startup Junkies, Building Sustainable Venture Ecosystems in Unexpected Places is the guide. It's a little bit inspiration. It's a little bit toolkit. What it will allow you to do is take your economic future into your own hands and build a sustainable small business, innovation, and entrepreneurial ecosystem in your backyard. If you'd like to hear more, check out creatingstartupjunkies.com. The Startup Junkie podcast reaches over 100 countries and has had over 100,000 downloads. If you're interested in reaching some of the most motivated and engaged innovators and entrepreneurs on a worldwide basis, give us a shout.